Hi, I'm Steve Finn, and I'm the guest host today of the Buy That Business podcast. I'm standing in, so let's see if I can do a half decent job at this, but I'm pretty confident. I'm really looking forward to this topic that we've got today. So basically what happens is when we have a lot of people buying businesses, we're going to do something different today because a lot of the business transactions we deal with, some are small and some are well into the multi-million dollar size with, tens or hundreds of employees sometimes. And now the way the world's, changing and technology is becoming so much more important in the way businesses run, what I wanted to do was to get an expert in managed IT. So what I've done is I've got one of my colleagues that we work alongside and refer quite a lot of work to, which is Joseph Mars from the Managed IT Group, who's going to join me today. Welcome, Joseph. How are you going?
Yes, well, thank you, Stephen. Thanks for having me.
No worries, mate. That's fine. So maybe what we can do is just if we kick off, if you could give us, I suppose we've got kind of the small to medium enterprises, and then we've got larger businesses. Maybe we can start talking about small to medium enterprises. Like, what is managed IT? Because that's what you provide. I always sort of think that big companies have got a big IT department, and small businesses don't really have anything because it's really just the owner who tries to sort of figure it out. And they're ringing up their internet provider or, trying to do these things themselves. But can you just tell us what is managed IT, I suppose?
Yes, yeah, look, absolutely. And in a managed IT is catered for all sizes. It can be a smaller organisation that doesn't have that in-house expertise and is looking for that help and assistance across, growing that business in the e-commerce space and the IT space and support.
So do you guys provide consulting work, or do you provide like what about if I want to get, I don't know, Microsoft, or I want to have other platforms that I can use to help run my business? Like, do I do all that myself and you kind of tell me what I should do or what I can get or my options? Like, how does it work?
Yes. So look, essentially, again, the smaller businesses, we can help guide and hold the hand through the process. We are completely agnostic as far as the vendors go and the partner relationships that we have. We do partner with trusted organisations, including your Microsofts of the world, and your Office 365 and some online platforms such as Azure and AWS. Which are your cloud platforms that seems to be the buzzword these days. So yes, we do hold the hand. In some cases, the organisation may have a solution that they already have catered for and just want to expand that solution and see how that can tie into their other products, and begin automating what that process looks like internally and help those processes.
So if you were, say, what like on your side of the fence with all of these, platforms and solutions and everything that's out there, like if you bought to poke on sort of more of an SME business, if you went and bought, say 3 or 4 different small businesses yourself, and you were then kind of going in there and go, okay, well, now I own these businesses, like what sort of things would you be looking for, like that you could improve, that you kind of already is there that maybe some people use, but most don't?
Yes, and that's that's the fundamental part of our business. Targeting those businesses where they've come into it, and we assist to look for gaps, and these gaps can be simply just opportunities and problems that if they can resolve them, especially when coming in, they can have a huge financial benefit, and they can appear throughout the whole organisation in the processes that they have. Or perhaps in a certain way that they are doing things and ways that they can do things better, and perhaps even roadblocks that could be in the way to improving. So those barriers, we come in, we look at the spend, we look how things can be improved, and that also means especially for small to medium enterprises that they can focus on their business.
And how do you see the small to medium enterprises run? Like, really, do they have an IT person? Is it kind of like someone who's a designated kind of person in the office that they sort of get that role, plus whatever else they're doing? Like, is that generally sort of how it is, or what do you see, and how should they do it really?
Look, it is a real mesh, to be completely honest. Often it's, just one of the junior admin helping out along the way and fumbling through it. Sometimes it's the more, senior personnel within the organisation that, for lack of better terms, they know it all because they've been around the organisation for some time. And truth be told, it's whilst it might be deemed as cost saving, the truth behind it is it's actually impacting the business far greater than they see. So, some are outsourcing and going about it the right way, and some do keep it in house. And I think one area that we target and focus on are those ones that go to vendor to implement different solutions. And what we find ends up happening is that A doesn't just seamlessly go into B. It becomes more trouble than what it's worth, both for the synergy and the two products working together, but then the cost element behind that. And often, the processes that we put in place can automate that and wind it back into a single product if that solution works for the customer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was just thinking then when you were saying that, that's probably what happens a lot. And, I'm not guilty of that. I've never done that where I've gone and just got all my own certain IT products and platforms that don't necessarily plug into each other.
and look, there's no shame in doing that. You wouldn't be the first. And they think they're going about it the right way to cost save, but in the long run, it just doesn't work. Yeah,
that's right. I think sometimes what happens though is when you've got a business is that you're then scared of changing. So it's like, I've got all these things that kind of work. I made it work good enough to sort of now. I know it can be better, but then it's like I'm scared, people are scared of what might happen if we unplug this and we go into something else. That can cause me more drama might be better in 2 months, but am I going to have a lot of pain for the next month or something? That's always a bit of a worry. But I suppose if someone's buying a new business, which is sort of what happens a lot with us, where we've got clients who do that, they come in with a fresh view anyway. They can just walk in from the start and say, okay, here's everything as it is now. They're not as locked into all the stuff that's been there from the past. So it's a great chance for them to do a full review. And I think every person who buys a business of anything really, but even of any sort of size, they should, one of the things they should do, like they go see their accountant, etc. But I'd go and see someone like you and say, okay, look, I've just bought this business. Can you just come and do almost like an audit for me and tell me what's happening? What could we do better? What needs to be changed? How much we're spending now? How much, would we be spending in the future? And help me make this sort of so I can grow it or get a better insight into what's happening, and it's easier. So, and you would do that, right? That's the kind of thing.
Yes, yeah. Look, absolutely. We have aligned ourselves in the accounting space and targeting again those smaller organisations where their just IT spend is too high for reasons that we've discussed. They've gone to vendor A and vendor B and gone to various different integrators, and whilst the solutions in place may be working, they're not working as efficiently as they could. And for that reason, they're overspending.
Right.
And it ends up just falling into the too hard pile. And as you've alluded to, for a new business owner that's just come in, they're going to look at it from a fresh set of eyes. And more often than not, the first thing they're going to look at is, how can we reduce spend? How can we improve the business? And that's where we come in. So again, they can focus on how they can improve the business, and we'll come in and focus on how they can improve those processes and ultimately save on that overhead and that spend.
And from what my understanding is, because actually some of the ways that like a business can use managed IT actually in a sense, in some ways, doesn't cost them anything, because correct me if I'm wrong here, and we obviously as we were just talking about before we started to speak, we just said, let's not do prep for this. Let's just get in and just start talking. But is it like, say, for example, if I'm going to go get Office 365 for my, 50 people that I've got in my organization, and I go and just get on myself and choose the plan, it costs me, $50 a month for each person or whatever. And I just pay them direct. But if I go through someone like you, your partnership with Microsoft is that they sort of give you a discount in a sense. So whatever the number is, I don't know. But so, for example, it then works out that you still charge me $50 a month per person, but Microsoft's charging you $45 or whatever it is. So you can make a little bit of money there to give us the support. I've got you as a direct support because obviously I can't just ring up Microsoft. And then, well, I can, but it's a bit hard. But overall, I'm not kind of paying any more than I would have anyway. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Again, it comes back to that model of small organisations where they've just made the easy decision. By that, they've gone straight to Microsoft. Oh, we need 50 licenses. Here we go. Whereas if they engage in ourselves, we can audit the environment. That we might find they've got 10 part-timers. So all of a sudden, instead of 50 licenses, it's really only 45 that they need. So there's already a cost saving there and that benefit. And then again, yes, they're going to get that additional, support moving forward, for their products.
Yeah. And how do you guys know, like, often what I've wondered is with someone like in your chair is that if you came and looked at a business and said, oh, look, here's all the ways that you can improve your automation and, just get all that running better. And here's some different solutions. Like, how do you know all the solutions? You can't know all the solutions out there for all the platforms, can you? Or or do you then go and do some research around this? You say to yourself, okay, they need something that's, here in procurement, or stock management or whatever it is. So you'll then go and, a couple of things, but you keep up to speed, or you do a bit of research, or how does it work?
Yeah, look, spot on, Steve. We and that's why we take a holistic approach to everything. We really take a top-down approach and firstly understand the business that we're dealing with, and we'll then sit down with the business owners and stakeholders to find the right solution. And again, it comes back down to being agnostic. We certainly don't lean towards one vendor or another. So we'll work with you. We work with best price, and we work with the best solution. And ultimately, we'll roll out that solution so it fits the business.
But the other thing I wanted to ask you, right, was say in a larger enterprise. So like we've got some clients where they'll be doing a transaction, they might be doing a merger, or they might be doing with another company, or they might be doing an acquisition where they're buying, quite a big organisation. This organisation could be turning over sort of even up to $100 million with, as I said, sometimes 50, 100 plus employees. Tell us a story about a large organisation that you've gone into, and then what you've seen and how you helped them. I suppose where they were like, whoa, and you kind of left, when it was all done, and went, geez, we really set them up well. They're a lot better off than they sort of were beforehand. Give us a quick snapshot of something that you've done there.
Yeah, sure. Look, it's actually in the legal space. Yeah, it's for a major partnered national law firm, and they acquired, a smaller organisation, had about 75, 80 seats. Their model actually was somewhat different to most. It wasn't a migration as such. It was a big bang weekend. We went in on the Friday evening, migrated all the platforms into the existing infrastructure. And by the Monday morning, it's quite a seamless transition. All the employees came in, the organisation, all the road content, the document management was in place. And as far as the clients were concerned, it was business as usual Monday morning. So in that instance, there was major cost benefit for the organisation, namely so the organisation that was bought into, because their overheads all of a sudden have gone from hundreds of thousands to being incorporated into this, multinational, that the expenditure had almost reduced, next to nothing, because of, from an IT perspective, the compute, the support, the overhead of administration was all but gone.
Wow, really?
So I think mergers and acquisitions is quite a big one, and you've probably seen in your space as well that it's one thing going to market saying I would like to purchase company XYZ, but there's so many moving parts that go within that, and you've got to ensure that the back end systems are compatible, that your existing infrastructure can cater for an extra 10, 20, 50 staff. So there's certainly a lot more moving parts than just shopping around and finding the best purchase.
Makes sense. That's good. So that's been great to have you here. Thanks, Joseph, from Managed IT Group. Much appreciated, and you'll no doubt get plenty of work from the millions of listeners that and that listen and view to this podcast by that business. So thanks very much, mate, for coming on board.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, that's all for today. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoy and you get some good value from this.